It's Todd Wolfe with Made by Wolfe. And today we're going to look at these 5 tips that I have for machine maintenance. What I want you to know from the get-go is that this is not a how-to video, but rather a go-do video, encouraging us to be involved with machine maintenance and some tips on how to do that. But before I get there, I want to let you know why it is that I'm doing this video. Recently, I released a 2021 shop tour video, and as I was going around the workshop getting all of the model numbers off the machines, I got to this guy, my veneer press. I pulled it out and looked at the backside for the machine model number, and this is what I found. This here is the filter for all of the air that gets sucked through the vacuum in order to protect the vacuum. And you can see that from here to here, that's about 2 inches. Fully half of that is completely filled with dust. The top part of it, the filter is exposed, but needless to say, it's rather plugged. So this is the first time actually pulling this off, and we'll see how bad this is. All right, so we can see there, see that is completely, that is dust and dirt and grime that has gotten into the filter, and then the top part of that is completely plugged. You can see plugged anyway. So thankfully I got one of these. So I've owned this vacuum press for probably close to 30 years, and I never knew that there was a filter back there. Or if I did know at some point, I forgot. So machine maintenance, it's important. I'm glad this thing hasn't died because it is an $800 replacement at this point. And that brings us to the first quick tip about machine maintenance, and that is don't forget about it. Don't forget about doing machine maintenance. Life in the workshop is busy. I don't know if I've ever been in the workshop saying to myself, gee, what am I going to do today? Maybe I'll maintain some machines. But here's the thing about machine maintenance. If we don't do it, our machines have a subtle way of reminding us, usually at the most inopportune times, that they need some attention, and it's usually because they have broken down and all of a sudden we cannot do the building and the making that we want to do because we are forced at that point to take the time, and it's usually a larger repair than a smaller repair. And so don't forget about it. Make sure that you remember to do machine maintenance. Hey, I'm here next to my pneumatic sander from Sandrite for tip number 2. Tip number 2 is know thy machines, which needs what. Which machines in your workshop need what maintenance? And it's not always really easy to know. For instance, this Sandrite has, thankfully, pillow blocks here that do require grease gun, but they're easy to see on this. Oftentimes, you may have a motor or something that's inside a cabinet on a cabinet saw that needs lubrication with a grease gun, but you don't see it. So do you know which machines in your workshop need what maintenance? What moving parts are they? How do they get lubricated? Do they get lubricated with a dry lubrication? Are you supposed to put oil on them? Are there grease fittings? Oftentimes grease fittings are really out of sight, and unless you know, particularly with older machines, where and what grease fittings there are, they're probably not getting attended to. What about oil? Behind me is my compressor. This compressor has oil. That oil is supposed to be changed on some regular interval. Do you know what that is? Do you know how long it's been since you've done it last? Do you know the level of that oil? This also needs to get drained in terms of the water in the tank. When was the last time that you drained the water out of your air compressor? Things to know. What about filters? We ran into that with the one with the veneer press. The vacuum press filter hadn't been changed in 30 years because I didn't know it was there. What about drive belts? What are the conditions of the belts on your machines? You can usually tell a belt on a machine is going to go before it goes, but you have to know that it's there and you have to actually investigate it. Know thy tools is step number 2, and if you don't know what needs to happen for each machine in your workshop, it would be good to take a few minutes, and figure it out and probably write it down someplace because it's easy to forget sometimes. For tip number 3, I'm here at my joiner. Tip number 3 is, again, know thy tools, but this time it's know thy tools' current conditions. Do you know the current condition of the tools in your shop? Particularly if you're a weekend or an evening hobbyist, if you don't use them all the time, sometimes you don't know what the current conditions are, and then you get back to that machine, it's like, oh crud, again, I forgot about this thing and I can't really use this machine the way I need to use it because there was some issue with it that needed to be taken care of. This is not just about the machines themselves, whether or not they're maintained, but it's also about things like the blades in the machines. Do you have sharp blades on the machine, whatever it is? This is my joiner. Currently it has a sharp set of blades on it, but I thought I should go look, since I'm doing this video, to see whether or not I've sent the old blades out yet to get sharpened. And lo and behold, the blades, the second set of blades that I have, are dull. I hadn't sent them out yet, so I'll need to do that this week. This has to do with router bits and saw blades. Do you have another saw blade if your saw blade, something were to happen, you were to hit a nail or something and that were to go down? If you need to use those different router bits, those bits that you don't use a lot, are they sharp enough to use at this point? Do you know where you're going to send them out to get sharpened? That's a good thing to know too. Know your tool's current conditions is tip number 3. So the quick tip number 4 for machine maintenance is to schedule it. You are either in a habit right now of doing machine maintenance on a regular basis, in which case you don't need this tip, or you need to stop believing that it's just going to happen. You need to schedule it. Remember, you're going to get a reminder about machine maintenance from something. It's either going to be from your machine when it breaks down, or you could have it be from maybe your calendar, iCal or Google Cal, when it hasn't broken down yet. So stick it on it. If you want to do it monthly, if you want to do it weekly, if you want to just do it every 6 months and take every 6 months, you're going to take a thorough go over of all the machines, whatever it is, make sure that it gets scheduled if it's not already. So that's quick tip number 4. Make sure that you schedule it. Hey, I'm back over at the veneer press for tip number 5, which is don't forget about it. I know, it's the same as tip number 1, but you watch hundreds of videos on YouTube and most of them we just forget about. This is an important thing not to forget about. Make sure that you, if you're not maintaining your machines, you do something at this point to make that change. Remember, your machines will love you back if you love them first. If you don't, they're going to tell you about it. So Todd Wolfe with Made by Wolfe encouraging you to get out there, maintain your machines, and then go make something today. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please hit the like and subscribe button. Check out the channel for other great videos about stuff to do around the workshop. And, as always, get out there and make something today.